It's day 3, everyone. December 3rd here in 2021. Thanks for joining us on this series that I'm going through, Eating Chocolate from SpongeBob. So, let's get into day 3. And the first 2 days, as you know, it's been a little underwhelming just because the designs inside of the fold where the chocolate is found, it's not what I think it is. So let's just see what today's is. Well, we got Gary here. Gary, right here. There you go. So, and then, I still don't understand why. Look at this. We had Gary, right? Well, there you go. Goodness. People, I'll tell you what. I'll get through this whole thing. There will never, this thing, if I can find it next year, I'll probably get it, just because. But, I mean, it's kind of underwhelming. It's kind of depressing, too, that you go through a series like this, and none of the designs of the chocolate is like what you think it is. It underwhelms people. I'll tell you that for sure. Like I've been saying the last couple days, I'll eat the chocolate, but they gotta do better. People have gotta do better. So, I'll eat it. Alright, well, enjoy college football wraparound, everybody. And welcome to College Football Wraparound. I believe that Jack is going to join me, but he's having some technical difficulties right at the moment. So my editor Colton is going to help him. He helped me start the stream right now, and he's going to go help Jack get on so that you can enjoy. So, of course, what I wanted to start with tonight was the coaching carousel, which is going on. I mean, it's crazy because of the high-profile jobs that have come open recently. It's really incredible to see. So, I mean, you got Notre Dame, who had to hire them a new head coach, Oklahoma, USC, Florida, LSU, and there's a lot to get into in the coaching carousel. So once Jack joins me, we can talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, at about 7:33, we will preview the games for tomorrow. Of course, also right here in a couple minutes, I'll give you. We'll go through every little bit of the show, updating you on the conference championship games that are going on at the moment. So, of course, there's a lot going on, but the coaching carousel has been the craziest part, maybe. But to give you an update right now on the scores, which I've got to admit, I have got one thing wrong on one of my TVs up here. So let me get that situated so I can give you a precise update. There you go. Okay. Well, we are having some technical difficulties. Okay, so where my editor normally sits is where Jack is going to have to sit for now. So if there's an echo, then we are terribly sorry for any inconvenience regarding this right now. So, of course, we are trying to get our situated. Of course, we are going to be here the entire hour. We'll be here till 8 o'clock Central Time. So, of course, you can't miss us. Right now, I believe Western Kentucky they're showing highlights on TV. So, to give you a little update of what's going on at the Conference USA Championship game, UTSA is facing off against Western Kentucky at UTSA. UTSA leads right now 21-13 with 11:50 to go in the second quarter. Baylor Zappi sits back, throws a nice ball right there to his receiver, and down the sideline he goes. What a play right there for Western Kentucky. So, so my editor Colton's getting everything situated. Now I do have to say, and this is going to my editor, that with the headset being there should not be any echo. That's what I'll tell you, Editor Colton. So, update from Vegas where the Pac-12 championship game is going on. It has not started yet. It will be kicking off in moments. I'm not exactly sure how long it will be, but it will be kicking off in moments. So, stay tuned for that. Like I said, we're going to be here the whole hour as my editor Colton tries to get everything set up. But, and I don't want to dive too far into the coaching carousel until Jack gets here. So, okay. So the Pac-12 championship game has not begun yet, like I've said. But Western Kentucky is driving down this field right now. It looks like they're about at the 42-yard line on UTSA's side of the field. As Baylor Zappi, the quarterback for Western Kentucky, is in the gun. He now takes a snap. He's going to fire the ball way down the sidelines, and that one's incomplete. So, and this is a nice play here. I mean, he puts that where his receiver has to go up and get it. His receiver just has the ball knocked away by the cornerback right there of UTSA. Great play right there, though. Wow. Now, as I wait, I do have some updates as to we've got a national championship coverage coming up. That'll be January 10th. I and Rusty Casper will be doing the broadcast. So, if you are one that's ready to watch some good football action, that'll be great for you. Only thing is, it'll be like a radio broadcast, so we won't have any picture. So we will, of course, see as Jack has made his way into the studio. So he is getting all set up right now. So of course, my editor Colton, he will let me know when everything is all set up. So, of course, I do want to dive into the coaching carousel, like I said. And then, of course, later in the program, we will get to a Q&A time. And then from 7:33 on till about 7:51, we'll preview the games tomorrow. As here Jack is, and I don't know what Colton's done with the screen for you.
Well, hello, Cooper.
Nice to see you tonight, Jack. How you been?
It's been bad. It's been a while.
Yeah. So, there's a lot to dive into as to all that's gone on in college football. But I do want to start with, what have you thought about the coaching carousel so far? I mean, all the high-profile jobs that have come open is still yet to be filled. What do you think about it?
Well, it's been pretty interesting seeing guys leave around. But in fact, you were speaking earlier, the Notre Dame job has been filled. As Marcus Freeman has been named a coach.
Yes.
And they will formally announce him Monday, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. So yes, I I hate to see some of the people who left, but I like Lincoln Riley going to USC. I think that's a good. I think it's a good spot for him to go to if he had to leave Oklahoma. I do think that with the West Coast out there, and there's a lot of good talent out there. In fact, we can look at quarterbacks that are playing around now. With Ole Miss's quarterback, Alabama's quarterback, there's 4 or 5 quarterbacks around who are from California. With Lincoln Riley can keep these guys out there and a lot of their talent, you can look at USC being back to what they used to be back in the '90s. Now, Brian Kelly coming to LSU is another very interesting one. And as we know, the last 3 coaches at LSU has won national championships. So I mean, that's the kind of standards that you expect him to be, and the kind of coach he is. If he gets the right kind of quarterback and system, I would be surprised in about 2 or 3 years he could be competing for it and possibly playing for championships. The Notre Dame job, as I don't know, Marcus Freeman, we don't know much about him other than he's a defensive guy. I don't know much about that one. And as far as Oklahoma, there's a lot of people talk about Brent Venables. I know some people probably Josh Heupel from Tennessee. I don't see that happening. Uh, I don't know. Brent Venables said I could be a perfect fit, but I've also heard a guy named Matt Rule, who coached Carolina. I've heard that name come up, so that could be very interesting. You could end up, depending on what happens, it could be a lot of more moving around.
Yeah, I think one that's really struck me, I I would say is, and I think it's really great. Billy Napier to Florida. I think that's a great hire because I mean, you look at Billy Napier, a guy who coached under Saban for I believe it was a year, and then was the offensive coordinator at Arizona State, and then made his way over to Louisiana and built them into one of the best programs in the Sun Belt. And I mean, Louisiana, for a lot of you who are diehard football fans, y'all have seen some of Louisiana games and you know what Billy Napier is. The question for me is it's going to be a transition going from Louisiana to Florida. How long do you see it taking for Billy Napier to be able to produce a team that would get to a bowl game?
Oh, it'll be a ball game next year. He's that good. But you also forgot that he also coached at Clemson with Dabo Swinney. So he's coached with Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban. Plus, he's offensive coordinator at Arizona State with, I like to think the guy's name right off, but he was out there. So he's got the experience. And that, from what I've read and heard, he's very disciplined, runs a great program, and Florida's got talent. So I would say bowl game. I think once again, I would say within 2, maybe 3 years, them and Georgia will be competing for the East this year. It'll be like it used to be.
And that's something you want to see too, is seeing Florida and Georgia competing for the East. Now, a good question though for a guy like Billy Napier. Let's say when Oklahoma and Texas does join the SEC, and you get Alabama and Auburn. Let's say they do move to the East. If you stay with the 2 division system they have right now, what happens to Florida if you have a situation where now you have Alabama and Auburn?
Well, it's still a talent. They're still going to be right there. But obviously, we don't know what the league would do as far as would they go to possibly like four pods as I talked about. Would they go to 2 super? Yeah, we don't really know. How they would divide it up. It's a lot to it. But then again, they're still going to be one of the top 2 or 3 programs. When you're looking at Alabama, Georgia now, LSU, I think will be back up there. Florida will be back up there. Oklahoma, Texas, you still got to watch them. Depends on how their recruiting stuff going, and that's 5. And you can't leave out Auburn and Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to be better.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I agree. It. I mean, the future of the SEC East is looking very bright right now because it looks like there's going to be a lot of competition. And then the SEC West looks really interesting now because the alpha dog in the West, Alabama is possibly not going to be there in the West in a couple of years when Oklahoma and Texas make their transition. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think, and I do want to go back because you said Lincoln Riley. What do you think? Do you think that automatically Lincoln Riley can go to USC and just basically that USC could be a playoff team as close as next year? Is that is that like fair?
Yes. Yes, because he just had a 5-star decommit from Oklahoma and commit to USC. I can't remember Malachi Moore. No, not Malachi Moore. It's I can't remember the name, but yeah, it's a 5-star quarterback. So automatically within 2 days, he already got a quarterback coming out there with him. So yes, with his ability to offense the coach, if he gets a good defense coordinator to go with him, which I heard Alex Grinch is supposed to be going with him. Yes, with that league out there and that talent, yes, they could possibly they'll be playing for Pac-12 championship probably next year.
All right. I do want to ask because there is some speculation coming out, some rumors that about Miami, and this is big news. And this is also regarding Lincoln Riley because this is a good transition. Mario Cristobal is being rumored right now. I mean, Miami has not fired Manny Diaz. They've not done anything with Manny Diaz yet. But there are rumors coming out that Mario Cristobal is nearing a deal with the Miami Hurricanes. What do you think about this deal?
Well, I mean, for Miami, it'll be a great deal because you get a former player come back, a proven head coach. This will be if they win tonight, there'll be 3 straight Pac-12 championships for them. They went to Ohio State earlier this year, beat them. So, and it's a great recruiter, considered one of the top recruiters there is, the head coach. Yes, if you get to Miami and you can keep the players there again, like Lincoln Riley, if he keeps players in California, if he came to Miami and keep a lot of players down there, if you look at a lot of talent from that area that's all over the place, they went to Alabama, Ohio State, LSU. These schools have got these players. If you keep these players there again, you can look at Miami possibly get back to what they were in the early 2000s. So yes, it could be a great hire if
Okay.
that's what happens.
Okay, and then another thing to watch out for, Quinn Ewers, quarterback at Ohio State. He was the backup this year. Of course, I mean, a lot of people who are big into football, they know the name. He is a highly recruited quarterback. What do you think about this? He has said he's entered the transfer portal. Um, and I got to think though. Do you think he ends up at USC with Lincoln Riley?
Probably not. I would say probably go back to Texas because when the NIL deals come around, high school kids Texas could not get these, so he went ahead and graduated early and went on. I would assume he'd go back toward Texas, whether it be the Longhorns, A&M. I mean, you don't know Texas Tech, depending on what kind of system SMU. I mean, there's plenty of schools in Texas he can go to. I would, I would think there first.
Yeah. And so, another thing is though about Quinn Ewers, you look at Texas, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I think Texas would be the perfect fit for him because I mean, you look at Steve Sarkisian. The last few years, he's had good quarterbacks. I mean, you talk about Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, and then I mean, Bryce Young didn't play much last year, but Bryce Young, he was the first guy. I mean, Steve Sarkisian was his first offensive coordinator. Of course, this year being Bill O'Brien. Um, so for me, I think that Texas would be the perfect place for Quinn Ewers. Plus, if you look at that Texas team, they weren't sold on who would be their quarterback. So, I mean, of course, that's a lot to get to. Mario Cristobal is a really interesting hire for Miami. I think it'd be really great. Like, I agree with you. So, of course, there's a lot. Let's update you on the games though. UTSA right now up 28-13 as it looks like Western Kentucky's almost there for a first down. And then right now, Utah's driving down the sidelines and they almost had a touchdown right there. Almost a one-handed touchdown by their receiver. Of course, if you remember Utah earlier this season just ran right over Oregon 38-7 at home. But this is a game in Las Vegas tonight, so of course, a lot to see right now. But let's see. And then I think another. Let's see. I think another place that's really interesting, and I mean, we really haven't talked that much about this, but do you think that Sonny Dykes at TCU? I think this is an interesting hire. I mean, he's been there before. What do you think about this hire?
Yeah, I think they could be a good hire too. Honestly, of all the hires I've seen so far this year, I've not really seen what I call a bad one. I mean, there will be some bad ones. Some people won't work out, but yeah, he's done good. I can see that being a good hire too. And TCU's had some good teams last several years, or through the years with. So yeah, I think it'd be a good one.
Okay. So, um, for right now, let's go ahead and go into our question and answers time. We'll go till about 7:33. So give me your questions. What do you think? Of course, there's a lot to ask me and Jack tonight. So just give us some good questions and we'll we'll answer them live here on the show. So,
Well,
take a couple minutes.
Cooper, I was gonna say you just Utah just scored, so they're up 7-0.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Well, Red Rusty, to let you know that I'm here.
Okay. Take a couple of minutes to see what's all gonna happen tonight.
A little tidbit for my editor to see what he thinks about me right now. I got my AirPod in, trying to see if that will help out a little bit for Colton's side. So, okay. So, Rad Rusty, he's got a question specifically for Jack. What are your predictions for Saturday? So I think what he means about that is
Okay, well, for Saturday, I see certain games. I see Oklahoma State winning. I hate to even say this. I want Bama to win, but I'm afraid Georgia's going to beat them. But I picked Georgia. Let's see, what other games I'm trying to think of right off. Oh, is it Pitt? I think Pitt should win the ACC. The Big Ten. I'm rooting for Michigan. Believe it or not, I want Michigan to win. That's the only thing I can think of right off. And Utah is playing tonight. Uh, I know there's some more, but some of the smaller conferences, but I can't think right off. Cooper, you have to help me. I'm trying to think who else plays Saturday.
Okay. Um. So. Um.
so.
So we had a little bit of technical difficulties right there on my side. So for Colton. Um. So is UCLA a good team or a bad team? I guess this is one we can take together. So
Would this be for this year?
I think yeah. Honestly, I was high on them this season. Of course, Utah made the conference championship game. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, UCLA's a good team in my mind. I mean, they made a bowl game, so that says something. But I mean, I don't know if they're a perfect team.
Well, I'm out my own. Okay.
Muted. Okay, you're on. Okay.
Hey, yeah, I think they've been a pretty good team. I mean, what were the real expectations start the year? I mean, make a bowl game probably, and keep Kelly from losing his job. So yeah, I think they've been all right. I don't think they've been good as maybe some people, you particularly, thought they would be, but they've been pretty good.
Okay. Well,
Well,
so
so
let's see. More questions.
the question,
When will Texas A&M win the national championship? Ooh. Well,
well,
I mean, let's be honest. They could have had a good shot this year if they would have, if they could have taken care of business a little bit better than they did. So, I mean, they lost a couple games that they probably shouldn't have. They weren't exactly the greatest road teams, so that hurt them. So, for A&M, I think mostly it's going to come down to next year. And, I think it's going to come down to can you win consistently on the road? They were a good home team. I mean, you beat Alabama at home. That's not an easy task, beating Alabama either way. So, I think Texas A&M can win the national championship. What do you think?
I don't see it anytime soon. Not with Alabama. Not with Saban still at Alabama. Honestly, with Brian Kelly coming to LSU, that's going to be the talent they can get there. I don't know. I just don't see it anytime soon.
Okay. Well, Rad Rusty, as much as I love Bama, I do believe that Georgia will beat them sadly, but their chances are never none, obviously. So, let me see for a second. And I'm gone again. Oh, man.
Well, Red Rusty, I agree with you. And I feel so we lost Cooper for a little bit, but I think he's on his way back. I believe I see him.
Well, there we go.
So, Mr. Producer, we got him back.
Yes.
Good job.
Okay. So, I do want to say that I probably messed myself up. I tried to put those AirPods in, and then that messed it up. So, that's a mistake on my part. So, if I go out again, it's because my thing is still trying to recalibrate from all that. So, of course, we hate technical issues, but of course, not exactly good for right now.
So, Cooper, I got a question for you.
All right.
Well, who do you think will be Oklahoma's next head coach?
Well, I mean, Brent Venables' name has been out there, but I don't exactly know if that's the home run hitter that everybody wants to make it out to be. And, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. I don't think Bob Stoops is taking the job because I think he's kind of shut that out. I think from what I've read, I believe Josh Heupel went on a local radio station in Knoxville, which I think he completely said he's not taking the job. So, honestly, right now, I think Oklahoma's the one that we don't exactly know where and who they're going to get. But I want to be honest about this. I think that there's a lot of names you could be seeing, but I don't know if the one that's going to get hired has been mentioned. I mean, for USC, we didn't know Lincoln Riley was going to take that job. And I think it's kind of weird, though, how everybody was talking about LSU. He's going to LSU, Lincoln Riley. But he ended up, he completely shut that down, and the next day, he goes to USC. So do we see another high-profile coach kind of look at this Oklahoma job and, like, if there is any openings left, and, like, completely shut it down, and then next day they take this job? You know, I don't know if you can replicate situations, but I mean, I still think Oklahoma's a big job, and there's gonna be guys offered, but I don't know who. So that's the big question for me. But if I'm gonna have to answer that one, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure at this moment. But I think you do have to go to the NFL for this guy, and I think, I've been this person who has been funny about this and said Urban Meyer has to be offered one of these jobs. Even if he doesn't accept it, he's got to be offered one of these jobs in college football. So, I mean, I don't know. Really, I want to say Brent Venables, but he just, to me, I don't know if he fits perfectly like a lot of people say he would.
Well, he spent his time out in Oklahoma, and he's got connections with, the Stoops and all. A name that you had mentioned that I've seen, and I'll watch that tomorrow night, Dave Aranda. His name has come up. Potentially tomorrow after their championship game, you could see that. I don't see that. But, I mean, you don't know. As far as the NFL, Cliff Kingsbury's name got thrown out there, and he's kind of hauled around, I guess would be the term. He didn't really say no, he didn't say yes. If you got him, you basically keep the same philosophy Lincoln Riley already has. It'd be just here's another guy step right in. Matt Rule, his name come up. I've heard that one. There's other names, Shane Beamer, South Carolina, but I don't think he's ready to be. No, I think it's job's too big for him. And plus South Carolina, he's close enough to Virginia, where that's his area where he's from. I see that. A name, you probably think it's crazy. A name, but some guy who coached there a long time ago, that a guy named Steve Spurrier Jr. We never know. Don't know what kind of coach. I don't know where he's at right now, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of names to be out there. But Oklahoma is one of the probably the top 4 or 5 jobs around. So yes, they should get a very good coach.
And I think Oklahoma, a lot of people want to downplay them for not. I think it's a great job. I think that there's a perception out there, though, that with all the jobs out there, that Oklahoma is not a big time job. So, there's a lot to be said for the success they've had there, but I do want to see some good coach go there. And like I said, Brent Venables to me just, with the he's got connections, but connections don't mean that they're going to be great head coaches. So that's my thing. In my personal opinion, Brian Harsin was a great hire for Auburn. And he never had, I don't believe he's had any experience in the SEC before this year. And I still think, the fact that they were 6-2 at one point, Auburn was, and they had a chance to actually win the SEC West at one time in the season. So, and then you go back to a week ago, and they challenged Alabama. They took them to 4 overtimes. So, here's my thing. You could look at guys like Brian Harsin who have no connection to the places where they end up going, and they do great. And then you can have guys who have a lot of connections to the school, but they can't produce a good team. So that's the thing I want to watch out for too. Is there going to be that guy who doesn't have any experience at this place? So I think that's going to be interesting to see. So,
Well, okay, and that same philosophy you talk about, as far as, let's go back to Lincoln Riley, had been head coach before, was at Oklahoma for, I'm thinking 2 or 3 years as offensive coordinator, if even that long. And in fact, Bob Stoops retired middle summertime. So, and let's be honest, if Stoops retires in January, Lincoln Riley probably wouldn't have got this job. They'd went and hired somebody who was already head coach before, just because of what he inherited. So, Lincoln Riley, technically, we don't know where he'd be at right now. He would probably be head coach at, say, a smaller school, maybe back somewhere in Texas. But he's in the right situation, right time, and it worked out for him. And he's cashing in with the rumors what the contract stuff is at USC. Plus, you go out here now to the Pac-12, which is basically only about 3 or 4 really, really good teams. But there you go. You can go out there and you can keep that talent, you can compete. But I'm also looking at, Utah now, I'm just sitting there thinking, talking about Oklahoma. Spencer Rattler, announced he was transferring. And one rumor was he's going to go to Arizona State. I heard that one. But I seen, I think, today that their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, announced he's coming back, or expected to come back. So that leaves up Spencer Rattler. Where will he go? Ole Miss, LSU. Do you go somewhere where you compete? Do you go, Florida? Where would you go if you're Spencer Rattler, who's got great talent, who, in fact, I think we all pretty much agree was one of the top 2 or 3 Heisman candidates to start the year, and take away the Texas game, both last year and this year, he has been one of the better quarterbacks. So, I mean, there's a lot of transfers going out that's going to be very interesting. And there again, I also read that Florida State had their whole coaching staff pretty much in Norman a couple of days ago recruiting all these kids because they know Lincoln Riley's leaving. Recruiting gets very ugly and nasty, and this is part of it. So there's a lot of things going to happen for next year. But as far as Oklahoma needs to get them a coach in pretty quick and try to reel in some of this, what's going on. Who knows? They get the right kind of coach. Spencer Rattler might stay. The Caleb Williams might leave. We don't know what's going to happen. But yes, Oklahoma needs a coach pretty quickly. And I would think by Sunday they'll have somebody.
And so I do want to ask you though, as far as having to hurry up and get a coach, do you think that the early signing period is really affecting the way that teams go after a head coach? Because now it just seems like teams don't have the time to really decide whether this guy is perfect for the job or not. They just gotta roll with it. So do you think the early signing period has caused some trouble with teams trying to find new head coaches?
Yes, it's made you up the timeline a lot quicker. But the problem is, and I think Oklahoma may be doing this right, you can go out and get somebody real quick, but you better be sure it's the right guy. Because if you hire somebody just because, hey, we got to get somebody for recruiting, you end up making a bad hire, then it goes wild. And a perfect example, let's look at Florida State. Jimbo Fisher left. They went and hired Willie Taggart. And, you got to give him, hey, recruit's coming, we got to get him. He lasts 2 years. So there again, he goes out. Oh, now we got to hurry up and get another guy. We got recruiting going on. And they bring in, now I've lost track of the coach, Mike Norvell. Okay, there again, it looked very bad. Then all of a sudden, by halfway through this year, they start playing pretty good. And I think they're bowl eligible. Right? I believe they're 6-6. I think they are bowl eligible, or 5-7.
They're 5-7.
Okay, but there again, at one point, Jack State beat them. I mean, that's how bad they were the first year. But they turned around and once again beat Miami. So I think he's kind of right, didn't it? But yes, if you rush and get this coaching, we got to get somebody. That's when you end up having problems. So you got to get the right guy. And if it costs you a recruiting cycle, so be it. You're gonna have to. And then, but there again, what thing now though, you got an early signing period, but then you still got the one in February, but you also got a transfer portal. If you go back and look at Josh Heupel, he got the job. He went and brought in a lot of guys from transfer portal. It worked out well for him. So it's a balance there. But now there's so many kids want to. It's already about how many people listed are there. I'm transferring. The game's ended Saturday, and by Sunday, there's already 5-6 big-time players announced that they're transferring. Spencer Rattler, and there was running back. I mean, so yeah, it's a lot to it.
Yeah, and so and from Florida State, I mean, there's been rumors that like next year, if they don't produce a good team, then Mike Norvell may be out the door. So there's a lot that goes into recruiting, like you said, and it's kind of nasty. But a sport that's really bad is basketball. Basketball, you could argue, is worse than football in recruiting just because it gets even nastier. So.
Well, it's a different dynamic with basketball. You get it out because you get the AAUs and the shoe companies, and it's a lot there. Football though football's always been pretty bad. So I don't know. The time frame's made it bad though. Yeah, I think we're having a little more trouble showing Cooper again. but okay. As far as like going back to more coaches, though, Jacksonville State just named Rich Rodriguez their head coach, bringing him back. Been head coach, he's been around, so good coach, give it a good hire. Troy just named their head coach, the guy from Kentucky. I don't remember the name, but they're again. I believe Cooper's back in with us now. Cooper, you back in yet? I see a shirt. Mr. Producer, we're in a little trouble tonight, ain't we?
So,
All right, you back in, Cooper. All right.
I believe so.
Of
course, I've had some technical difficulties.
course,
Kind of self-inflicted on my own. But now that it's about 7:44 tonight, I do want to. Before we got about 7 minutes before we'll pick tonight's games. But let's go ahead and try to preview some of them coming up tomorrow. And let's start with Wake Forest and Pitt. I mean, the ACC championship game the last few years has been Clemson. This year, a little bit of parity's happened. Clemson has had it. I mean, by the standards of how they've been playing the last few years, it's a down year. So, I mean, now that you don't have Clemson, the juggernaut of the ACC, Florida State for years was there as well. So it was Florida State and Clemson. Now, is Wake Forest the new juggernaut in the ACC? Atlantic? And then, so, I mean, that's a question we can get into later, but what do you think about this game? I mean, this is an interesting game. Would you agree?
It should be an interesting game, and I'm interested in what Kenny Pickett does. I think he could potentially be the first quarterback drafted next year. I like him. I think if he goes and has a good game, that you'll see him go to the draft boards. I mean, there's a lot of other quarterbacks listed probably for him, but yeah, I like him, and I don't know. Picking this one, I would go with Pitt just because of him. You know, I know Wake Forest had a good year, but just trying to get too far into it. But you say that it's because Clemson's not there. But let's go back to the last several years. They played Duke one year. They played Virginia. So it's been rotating through all the teams. So yeah, it's typical. Just they're not there, but they're still 9-3. So I think it's all right. And they lost to Georgia. So okay. So not bad. But I'll go Pitt.
Okay. And well, let's see. More trouble. Well, what a night.
All right. Yeah, Cooper's been a rough night, but here I think you're back. Are you coming back now?
Well, let's go ahead and try to preview the rest of the games. Oklahoma State and Baylor, real quickly. What do you think?
I think it's very good. I like Baylor's defense, but I don't know. I think it's Oklahoma State's year. I'm gonna go with them after beating Oklahoma. You know, if you go back and look at Gundy's record through the years against Oklahoma, even as a player, I think this is their year.
Okay. Let's see. Next one, Cincinnati and Houston. Now this is a big one because if Cincinnati wins, then they're essentially in the playoff. I mean, what would help though is if Alabama loses, though, for sure.
Yeah, they need Alabama to lose, and may need Michigan to lose just to be sure. But yeah, they need to. Houston got a good team, and I wouldn't be shocked if Houston beats them. I'm gonna pick Cincinnati, but I think Cincinnati wins big to help their case. But there again, they also, as bad as everybody say, it would help them if Oklahoma State gets beat too. That would just pretty much could knock all teams around them get knocked out. They pretty much leave them in the playoffs then.
Yeah. And I mean, right now, I still think being at 4 is still a comfortable spot. It's a comfortable spot at the moment. So, Michigan and Iowa. What do you think about this one? This is a good game. Michigan is making the. I mean, we've never had the Big Ten before the Big Ten championship. Michigan never had made it to the Big Ten championship game.
Right.
I mean, they've won the Big Ten, but never made the championship game.
Right. So they've had a championship game. They've not been there. I kind of look at them like Oklahoma State. I think this is their year. I just think that I don't think Iowa's offense is going to be good enough to score with Michigan. And obviously, Michigan shut down Ohio State pretty good last week. So I'm going with Michigan in this one. and I think Michigan that puts them in the playoffs. And Cooper, we lost again, or am I lost this time?
Okay. So let's see.
Okay, okay, so I guess Cooper's off again. So let's see. So another game that we hadn't got to, that Cooper hadn't got to, we'll talk about, is Appalachian State and Louisiana. There again, Billy Napier. And last time I was going to coach in this game. I hadn't seen. He said last week his plan was to coach. I haven't seen where he's not. But there again, Appalachian State. I think it's 3 years straight. Appalachian State and Louisiana. I think Louisiana will be the home team, and but I'm going App State though. I think Louisiana would Billy Napier leaving. Yes, there'll be a lot of motion. Teams that want to win for him, send him off the right way. But you don't know distractions. Is his mindset really into the game? And App State's got a very good team. And I think Louisville beat them. Louisiana beat them earlier this year, right? Am I right there, Cooper?
Yes.
So, all right, you coming back on? But yes, Cooper said yes. He did. But I'm gonna go with App State in that game. I don't know, Cooper, if you're back on. What do you think about the App State and Louisiana game?
Yeah, so I am not on currently,
Okay.
but, we're in the same room, so you can still hear me.
Okay, well, Cooper's not on, but he agrees with me, obviously, as he should, because I'm the smart one in the family. Then, of course, let's see. What else? What do we get? Well, the Big 12 is playing tonight. ACC, B10. We talked about the B12. Okay, then I'll have to get to the big one. We got Georgia and Alabama, which, Cooper, if you ever get back on here, we can talk about. Since I say it's about 10 minutes till. But the Georgia, Alabama, we'll talk about that again. Once again, I did a little research today, just kind of looking. The last 3 times they have played, regular season last year, SEC championship, and NCAA, the college football championship, Georgia's had a lead at halftime, all 3 games, and several of them I think might have been double digits. So, okay, we back. Oh, hey, Cooper, you back now.
Yeah,
So,
so I had to get a new device.
We're talking about the Georgia and Alabama right now. Yeah, well, we go back. First of all, you agree with me. App State's going to beat Louisiana, so we're good there. Yeah, Mr. Producer said we agree with that one. Right, Mr. Producer, we like. But Alabama and Georgia, as I was saying, the last 3 times they played, Georgia's had a lead at halftime. Now look back at if you look back at some of the stats, Alabama has some big plays. Especially last year, there were several. I think Waddle got like a 70-yard touchdown. So you have some big plays. But Georgia, I'm picking Georgia. I don't like doing this. I'm rooting for Alabama, but I think this might be the year Georgia finally can do it. I think Kirby ever going to beat Alabama, but this has got to be the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how were you at, Cooper?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think, just like you, they've got to win it. I mean, if they don't, then do you really? Does Kirby ever have another shot like this to win? To win against? So there's a lot you can say, but
Yes.
I think this is if ever they're gonna beat Alabama, they gotta do it now. So.
Well, speaking of this game, I got actually a funny one that kind of hit me today. I don't think this happened, but this I think would be, as a Georgia fan, that would be the funnest thing happen. Alabama leading at halftime. Georgia goes in the locker room. You know what they decide to do? We're going to change quarterbacks. We're going to bring in JT Daniels. And he comes back and leads the win. All of a sudden they go, oh, Bama, y'all done this twice. We return the favor and do it to you. I don't see it happening, but I think it would be hilarious. As a Georgia fan, I would think that's great. As a Bama fan, I'd probably be really mad, but
yeah, it'd be like payback though. So
yes.
But it is 7:50.
Let's see.
And I see Utah's up 14-0 now.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this? I mean, Oregon got steamrolled a couple weeks ago against Utah, and so it looks like it may happen again. I mean, what do you think's the problem with Oregon facing Utah right now?
Well, Utah's got a good team. If we look, they're 9-3, but I think the first year they something didn't work first year. They lost a couple games, but yeah, now you look at them, go like they're one of the better teams, and if they'd won a couple of games earlier in the year, we'd be talking about them in the playoffs. So yeah.
All right. Well, we got 7 minutes till the end of our show tonight. Let's go ahead and pick these games. The one I want to start with is Cincinnati, Houston. Who you got?
I'm going Cincinnati. I'm rooting for Houston, but I'm going Cincinnati.
I'm going Cincinnati. I mean, honestly, if this is the year, I mean, if there's every year for the group of 5 to finally get a team in, this is the year. So.
Well, I would say this. Part of me, I don't want them to get in, and part of me wants them to get in, and hopefully run to Georgia or whoever and get me about 3 or 4 touchdowns. So a lot of stuff will quit. Just stop, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next game. Let's go to Oklahoma State and Baylor. Who do you got?
I like Oklahoma State. I think this is their year.
You know, honestly, I'm going to be honest. And I think that this has been an interesting season. I think Baylor wins this game. I think Baylor's defense shuts down Oklahoma State just like they did Oklahoma at home. And I know, I understand. This different circumstances, different game, of course, playing a different team, of course, in Jerry's world. But, I mean, honestly, I can see Baylor winning this game. So I'm going to go Baylor.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. Who did Oklahoma State lose to? Did Baylor beat them earlier this year?
Iowa State.
Iowa State. So they beat Baylor earlier this year. I was thinking so.
Yes.
But we also can go back and look at the fact that Baylor's done the last 2 years to really shut down Oklahoma, but I also go Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Okay. Michigan and Iowa. Who do you got?
I like Michigan. I don't think Iowa's got enough offense to score with them.
You know, for me, I think what you have to look at is defense here. I think Iowa's got a pretty good defense. Of course, they've lost a couple games. It's just been kind of rough for them. I mean, I can see Iowa winning this game, but I'm like you. I'm going Michigan because this is Michigan's year. I think they're going to get it.
Yeah. Well, there again, what offense does Iowa play, though?
Right. I agree. Alabama and Georgia. I mean, this is the game of the week, but this is still Georgia's 6.5 favorites in this game, of course. I mean, I'm going Georgia in this point. What do you?
Well, I don't like doing it, and I hate competing against them, but yeah, I'm going Georgia. I think they just. You know, accused maybe this is their year too. I don't know. It just they look like the best team all year, and I just see them winning.
All right. Now, if you see me kind of laughing a little bit, if you look in the background of Jack's screen, you will see my cat who has made. I mean, if you want to go back and watch some of our previous videos, he made an appearance in Football Skills Challenge as he is leaving. So I do want. Hey, before you go, before we leave you tonight, please comment if you want him, Meowth is his name. If you want him to be the mascot of our channel.
Well, it'd be your mascot, not mine.
Okay.
I'm not part of that.
Okay.
Neither am I.
Okay.
Neither am I.
And there's Colton.
Yeah, Mr.
There's
Producer
Colton.
agrees with me. Mr. Producer, we may start our own YouTube channel. How about that?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well. Thanks for joining us tonight. Of course, it is 7:57 at the moment. Of course, we're gonna go try catch the rest of these games. There's me out in the background.
Yeah, Cooper, I said Mr. Producer number 2 just walked in the room. I don't know where he's been all night. But... So maybe our next broadcast, maybe he'll give us some questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we ought to just do a whole show number of people's viewers' questions.
Okay. An hour of people's questions. I think that'd be cool.
Maybe you get people to email you some questions in.
Okay. I agree. Let's do it.
And I think maybe Mr. Producer number 2 ought to go on the air with us.
I agree. Here comes the kitty. He says hello to you guys. So, all right. Well, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Sorry for all the technical difficulties we went through. Of course, we had a boatload of them, but hopefully we'll be coming back. I believe our next stream would be December 11th, which is next week, which is next Saturday. We'll be talking about the college football playoff. Oh, Sunday we got a stream coming up, so you don't want to miss that. Sunday we will reveal the playoffs live here on Saber Broadcast Network. So that is 1 p.m. Central Time, so don't miss it. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again Sunday.
All right.